Dr. Estes, you asked for $7.8 million toward teachers' salaries, and it looks like it'll be about $7 million. Would you consider this a defeat towards your budget proposal?
Yes, I think so, and we're disappointed. We recommended 7.8 because we thought that teachers needed it. This is what they ought to have. We still think that that's correct. We're disappointed that the board apparently will provide only $7 million.
I think what Mr. Charles Griffin had in mind, who brought the matter to the commission, was the extremely deteriorated areas of the city, in which we have really no program at the present time for cleaning out those extremely blighted areas and bringing them to standard.
Aren't there certain standards that are set forth by the city, and why aren't these being enforced?
Yes, there are certain housing standard codes, but until there is some place for these families to go, until there's alternate housing, the city has been very reluctant to condemn a house and to move a family out on the street unless there was alternate housing available. So unless there have been complaints or unless the house is vacant, for the most part, they've been left alone.
There were reports that you were allegedly carrying heroin and vials of drugs on your person. What actually have you been charged with?
I have been charged with possession of dangerous drugs, which is not heroin. It's not a narcotic, period. But this will all be borne out by the state at a later time. There was a warrant who came out for my arrest today, and that's the reason I came down today to post bond. I posted a misdemeanor bond. I went through the identification process of the Dallas County Jail, and release came up while I was in jail, and here I am now.
Do you feel that the Bar Association will disbar you, or do you just feel that there possibly will be a temporary suspension until your trial?
I'm sure they will disbar me. I'm sure they will.
If this happens, what will you do then?
I do not know at this point. I do not know.
Now, we have worked for 15 years, and we finally pinned him down. We've got a tape recording of him. We've got a statement from his wife. The fellow that worked with Harry E. Weaver is the one that killed. Harry E. Weaver is the woman's husband. Now, he is the actual murderer. We served a subpoena on him in April to come down here to trial, and when we served the subpoena to him, the shock hit him so great that he died.
During the time that you spent in, and since you've been arrested in January of ‑55, have you had many approaches of people saying that for a certain amount of money they could get you cut loose?
Well, now I had a if you noticed last year there was a story ran in 2 years ago there was a story ran in the Police Detective. All right, it was all a big bunch of hooey. There's a Texas Ranger in San Angelo, Texas, by the name of Ralph Rohatsch. We won't pull any punches. We'll let the audience know who he is. He's retired now. His name was Texas Ranger Ralph Rohatsch. He was on the stand the other day. He and I had a good relationship. But he came up to me and offered me, he said, Harry, for $15,000, if you'll pay me $15,000, he says, I'll cut you loose. He says, I've got a lawyer that'll take your case and we'll cut you completely loose.
I think that the important thing as football players is the fact that we got to get ready for the regular season. Now, the exhibition games, there's been a lot of pro and con to the value of 6 exhibition games. I don't want to talk about that, but I would say that getting ready for the season, which is the prime importance of every professional athlete in football, it wouldn't take longer. I would hope that it wouldn't take longer than a week. Now, I'm just cutting it off at a week. I'd say a good solid week of working, and this is going to be a lot of work. I mean, it's not going to be any time for leisure at any point. but it's going to be a solid week if we had, let's say, just a week to work with, of actual work, getting out there and, like I say, spending a lot of time on the field, running through the plays, spending a lot of time in meetings, putting the plays in. The person that's going to really hurt is the second-year man, the rookie, the man who's trying to make the squad. It took me, without exaggeration, maybe 2 or 3 years to learn the basic offense of the Cowboys. Coach Landry's theory is very difficult to, let's say, put in execution in your own mind. It's easy to see, and you can look on the board and it works. But to put it in your own mind and have confidence in what you're doing, it takes a lot of time.
There has been some comment, though I don't know how serious it is, and I'm asking you as an individual now, not as a spokesman for the Players Association, obviously, or for the Cowboys. Some of the owners are suggesting that they might cancel the season. Do you personally feel it would go that far?
I don't believe the season will be canceled because it would cause so much dissension, if not from the fans. I think from the players, the owners, I think it would cause such a rhubarb in the makeup of professional athletics. What would be gained by it? I don't see. Yes, we'd be out of our job for a year. We wouldn't get paid for a year. The owners wouldn't make any money for a year. Maybe they don't need the money. I'm sure that most of them are pretty well pasted already. They've got money that they're, invested in the Cowboys or other teams as such. They've got the money. They don't need the income from the professional athletics. I personally feel we'll settle before the season starts. I personally feel that.
Well, Art, in the original projection that we had, we came up with about 100. And to date, we've transferred 47 here from Albuquerque District office to the Fort Worth District office. And they are physically located here in the district. And we also assumed control or responsibility for the field offices that were involved, and we acquired 43 people in that area also.